So here you have a very young professional gentleman, very smart, who did his research, and he's had for 9 years cyst in the armpit that's recurring, and now it's the smallest it's ever been. But what happened was every time he would come in, they would inject him with steroids, different doctors, dermatologists. And what you can see from it, which he told me himself, is he developed little holes and the skin is a little more red. That's called steroid atrophy. And that happens when the steroid that's injected is leaking outside. That's why you have to be conservative when you inject, if you inject. But when you're doing cysts, you have to realize that unless you remove the sac, unless you remove the pocket that is producing that keratin material, it will keep recurring. And so you just will make it smaller, but it will not go away by itself. So you need to remove that cyst out of the area if you want it not to come back. So now we're going to palpate it. So it's definitely much smaller. And you can see actually here it is, the little hole. At the beginning I thought the hole was actually there. But all those holes and all this redness actually is where they injected the steroid. I can feel the scar tissue a little further out there. And I need, actually, if you don't mind, I'll feel it with my hand because the glove reduces, yeah, it does go a little bit further out in here. Now, when I'm going to go in, I'll find out, of course, how wide it is. But one of the things that he was telling me is that a lot of his friends had small cysts and they end up with a huge, scar. And there is a technique, and I try to teach my residents. I used to be the director of dermal cosmetic surgery at St. Luke's Hospital for about 15 years. I got an award there for best teacher. Not because I was torturing people, but because I was trying to tell them how they can easily improve on the patient's results. And the way to do it is when you're doing the cyst, you try to make a slit, and that's what we'll try and do, instead of cutting all that area. And then we'll look what we have to do, whether we need to do a little more or a little less, because when you do an excision, the skin, because of its elastic tissue, ends up stretching out much more, and suddenly you made just a little cut, suddenly there's a big window opening. It's not like regular construction, you're doing that. It's not like regular construction, what you cut is what you have. It's basically like a rubber band. You snip the rubber band and suddenly, look, it like stretches to the ends significantly. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little opening, and then we will dissect out the cyst wall, and we'll put a couple of stitches and it will be beautiful. Now, the armpits are an area of extra tension, and that's why instead of starting on the face of surgery, we'll do the armpit first. We'll see how he heals. So when he shaves, it's very important to try and not stretch the skin and to hold it up as you shave. Obviously, until the sutures are removed, you don't even shave that area. And when you shave, ideally is to shave down as opposed to shaving up, because that stretches it more. So we can start the surgery. So now what I'm doing is I'm stretching the skin. So we're just looking to see how far the cyst, and what I'm seeing is mostly a scar. Afterwards you'll be able to see it on the video yourself. Now you really don't understand everything. But you see there is a scar that we're going to separate it from the cyst. I see the cyst as well. It's right inside that scar. No pain?
Okay.
I'll show it to you when you can pick it up. It's actually pretty big. I didn't expect it to be that big for what I was feeling.
Tiny.
Yeah, it felt like it was tiny, I agree. Yeah. It goes deeper, you know?
Right.
You want to see?
Yeah, I'll take one.
No? Or Joyce, the baby boy?